Being an empty vessel. What do I mean by this? Well, there's two different situations that I can think of with respect to a human being an empty vessel. And the first situation is basically being in their human conditioned mindset, where there is a grave lack of emotional stability, emotional balance, because you're judging, blaming, feeling resentful towards your dog, and even angry towards your dog, because of the behaviour that they're performing. And I want to illustrate this with an example of what I see when I walk Morty. Humans, human after human after human, have their dogs wearing collars, they're jerking on their dog's neck, they're hurting that soft tissue around the neck, they're not letting their dog sniff. Why are you taking your dogs for a walk in the first place? You think you're giving your dog physical exercise. All you're doing is causing your dog to have a lived experience that is very unemotionally satisfying. When your dog is out walking, they're sniffing the air, they're engaged with everything, they're interested, they want to investigate things, or they may even want to walk ahead of you because they're so excited and they're engaged and they're wanting to just feel the surroundings around them and sniff the air and do what they're doing in that moment. On the other side of the coin of being an empty vessel, when you're reconnected with your dog, you're an empty vessel that is actually helping you to be filled with knowledge and also feeling nourished and possibly even spiritual in a way, because you're appreciating the uniqueness and the wonder of another living species. That is your companion animal, your dog, or whatever other companion animal you may have. I was walking Morty a couple of nights ago and it was twilight. It was a really nice cool time of the evening, and it was nice and quiet, and there were less dogs that we would potentially run into and possibly cause, you know, a little bit of conflict to other dogs if we had have come into contact with them, because Morty can be overexcitable at times. What I do to help Morty feel more freedom and give him more freedom is I have a long line and a harness for him, a harness that fits properly over his chest so it doesn't cause him to cough because it's pressing on his chest or his airway. Also a harness that's not too bulky, but a leash, a flat leash that's around about 4 to 5 meters long. Now I have this placed in loops, and you can look at the on-leash activity video that is somewhere here in this video for more information on how to do that with your dog. Now, when you're doing this with your dog, you need to be reconnected with your dog because you're being proactive. You're looking at your dog, you're watching your dog, you're looking out for the things in the environment. If you're coming up to a corner, you're going to reel that line in, that leash in a little bit more, have your dog closer to you, and then you're going to gently let that leash out when you can see a clear pathway and, you know, a good 20 to 30 metres in front of you where there's no other dogs, so your dog can have a little bit more freedom to sniff and investigate things and catch up on the social media. But it was such a wonderful experience just walking Morty, and that experience filled me with joy, warmth, and it made me engaged, feel interested and alive. And my lived experience was, it was just one of peace and contentment as well. I was watching Morty, he was trotting ahead, and I could hear his paws on the concrete footpath as he was padding along. His head was going from side to side, his mouth was half open because he was having a little bit of a pant, and his ears were moving and he was looking for things to sniff, and he's, what's that? You know, what, I can see something here. What have you seen now? And his nose would be in the in a garden bed sniffing out something, or he'd then find a nice patch of grass, especially that nice mown crab type of grass, or it might be a different type of grass, but it feels like if there was a giant lamington, that cushiony feel of a nicely cooked lamington, which is a funny analogy, but if you trod on a lamington, a huge lamington with that nice cushiony feel, that's what that grass felt like, and that's what it felt like under Morty's feet. And of course, he then decided to drop to his belly, have a good little face rub, and then I knew what was going to happen next because I had to let out a little bit more leash for him because he goes for a bouncy trot for a few metres, and then he'll stop and just have a sniff, or he'll look around. And so for me, being reconnected with my dog in that moment, it's a truly unique lived experience that provides you with emotional balance, peace, stability, but most importantly, it reconnects you with another living species. And within that short walk of only 20-25 minutes, I came to another lot of personal realizations about myself, about the world, about the system we live in, and it all comes back to the lived experience. So we can be empty vessels where we're living in our human conditioned mindset, being disconnected from our companion animals, or we can be an empty vessel that is reconnected with our companion animals, which ultimately lifts us up into a higher level of consciousness. So I'm hoping that you'll reconsider having a collar on your dog's neck when you walk your dog. I hope you'll take the time to reconsider why you're taking your dog for a walk. And I hope you'll stop and take the time to reconsider what type of empty vessel you'd prefer to be. We'll talk again soon.